أكثر شيء
قصيفة.
While in the country, I and the local people could not openly speak about the government, the war, or just politics in general for our own safety. This video is only meant to document my experience as a tourist in the country, so please do not use this video as your only source of information about Syria. Do not interpret this video as Syria is safe and all refugees should be sent back. That is definitely not the case. I still hope that you learn something in this video, even if it's only that the Syrian people want nothing more than peace in their country. Good morning, it's day number 2 from Syria. Behind me you can see Maaloula, which is a city about 1 hour drive from Damascus. The interesting thing about this village is that apparently 90% of the people that live there are Christian, and they also speak Aramaic, which is also the language that Jesus spoke. Also, here during Christmas, Easter and New Year's Eve, they light up the whole city for 3 days. And because they don't have reliable electricity here, they do that by burning car tires, and they burn for 3 days. That's why the city's lit up 3 days, 3 times a year.
So this is from prehistoric period.
So we're just walking down a random street and there's children screaming at us, so we're gonna take a few pictures of them. Hello!
Okay, Nancy, shalom. أول شيء الهدوء.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We have some sweet red wine. How do you say cheers in Aramaic? Do you know?
صحة.
Saha. Ah, like in Arabic. Saha.
Guys.
Let's go. So we just tried some typical Syrian candy here on the side of the road, and tomorrow on the way back we're gonna buy some of it because they're really good. So we just arrived in Aleppo. You can see the citadel behind me. We really just got in. It was a very interesting drive, around 4 hours through the semi-desert of Syria, as I learned. It's not a complete desert, it's a semi-desert. We also passed many abandoned towns, like there were whole villages, towns, maybe even cities with houses and everything, but there was not a single soul living there. Super sad. Now we drove a little bit through the city. We saw a bit of the new part, a bit of the old part. Now we're gonna walk around the citadel. So right next to the citadel we have many beautiful cafes where apparently in the evening it's always really full. Here we have the main entrance, and then we're going to go up there, up to the citadel, and from there you're supposed to, or apparently you have a very beautiful view over the entire city. So I hope you can hear me. It's very windy, but now we're on top of the citadel in the city center of Aleppo. Behind me you can see the beautiful view of the city. This is the northern part. This is the second old town of Aleppo, and you can see how big it actually is. So we're here in the souk in Aleppo, or in an old souk, because it was completely destroyed many years ago. Just imagining how it was in Damascus, in a fully functional, vibrant souk. It's just sad to see this here completely destroyed. So we just arrived at the Aleppo soap factory, and we have a guy that's going to explain to us how the soap is made, the famous Aleppo soap. That's one thing Aleppo is really famous for. And you can see they have a ton of soap. This is just one of the areas. There's more behind there, a lot more over there. And yeah, very excited to see this.
I'm the translator and supervisor for this facility. This is 800 years old. They were producing soap the same traditional way.
So now we're here in the soap factory in Aleppo, in the soap factory. There used to be 12 before the crisis, but only this one survived the crisis. And here you can see one of the areas where they store the soap, and also this is how they lay it on the floor, the liquid, and then cut it when it gets solid. The soap, the liquid, does not get solid in summer. They always make the soap in winter. That's why this one is an experiment. And you can see the not solid soap, which you can see here. It's really, you see it here. You can actually form it with your hand. This one's still green. And the thing the Aleppo soap is really famous for is that it has only natural ingredients. And the way apparently you can prove this is that when it gets solid, it turns to this brown color. It's from the green to brown, and that's how you know it's only natural. So behind me you can see a part of the bazaar that was not destroyed, but everything was stolen after everyone went. And on the other side, you can see the same thing happened, but everything has been renovated. Everything has been renovated, people are selling stuff again, and it looks really nice. So behind me you can see the old city wall of Aleppo from the 1700s, so it's very old. And this wall has a couple of towers like this one, but they were all destroyed in 2015 during the crisis. So we're here in the middle of the fruit and vegetable market in Aleppo, and it's so much going on here. We have the sunset. It's beautiful. So now we're here in another souk, but because it's only 10 in the morning, there's not many people here. And one thing that you'd never see in Europe is the organization of the public electricity network. So we're now in the second old city again, where many places were destroyed. Just like these homes here. Some of them, especially back there, they came back and renovated again. But this one, for example, stays empty until today. So here behind me you can see the Sisi house. The name comes from the Empress of Austria, Sisi, which you might know. And she actually stayed here, and there's a hotel and restaurant that were named after her. Unfortunately, everything was destroyed in 2015 during the crisis, just like most of the area here. Wow, guys, the sun's pretty bright, but look at this behind me. There's the street where we came, and there were a few shops that were destroyed, but look now, we're on the square here, and as far as you can see, almost every single building was destroyed. Probably all in 2015, when apparently the Russians came here. 2015 was the worst year of the crisis. And look at this. I mean, there's people. It's now been 7 years, and it still looks like this. You know, all the stones are laying around. People are still rebuilding, or maybe even just dealing with all the rest of the houses. You know, not even rebuilding yet. Now the square is just the one place where you can see it all, right? Where you have a view of many houses, but actually walking around here you see, especially in the Armenian quarter, which is where we are, the Armenian quarter, the second old city, almost everything has been destroyed in 2015. Some people came back, as I said. There are a few shops where people have been rebuilding. So a guy just told us that before the crisis, $1 was 50 Syrian pounds. Now it's around 4,500. hotel. The building still stands, but you can see that all the windows were completely destroyed, and that's because right there was a car full of bombs, which basically bombed the whole front of the hotel. Also, here used to be a very famous nightclub for officers, and as you can see, it's not here anymore because of bombings. And our last stop here in Aleppo is this mosque behind us. It's the President's Mosque. It has not been fully built yet. It's really, really big. And beautiful, I would say. Yeah. So now, that's it for Aleppo. We're now going back to Damascus and continue our trip back in the south of the country. So today is day 4 here in Syria, and today we're in Bosra, in a city in the very south of the country, only 10 kilometers from the Jordanian border. And here behind me you can see the theater, which is in the center of the citadel of Bosra. You might see some similarities to the Colosseum in Rome, and that's because the designer of this theater, which some people say is the most beautiful in the whole world, other people say it's the most beautiful in the Middle East. Everyone has their own opinion, of course. The designer of this theater is the same guy as the one that designed the Colosseum in Rome. So how it works, that all 15,000 people can hear you, is through this hole. Because if you actually stand on the stage and speak into this hole, then all those people that were sitting in those places behind me can actually hear you. It's really loud. So behind me you can now see the old ruins, which are from the 1st century after Christ. This, for example, here, what you can see, is actually not a ruin. These houses are only about 150 years old, but they're built with stones from the ruins.